So we've identified 5 trends in Canadian immigration as things move along very fast. In 2024, we had a very busy year and it wasn't very boring. So let's identify why you need to know these trends. First and foremost, for your strategic planning, you need to understand the trends that help potential immigrants like you or business owners like you to make an informed decision when to do what to do. So policy adaptation and compliance. Policies have changed. In 2024, we've brought you many changes that Government of Canada announced, and it was unplanned sometimes, sporadic, and sometimes I believe haphazard. So you need to adapt to policies set by government, new policies, changing policies. They want to fine-tune certain programs, and you need to rely on them to stay compliant and to stay up to date with the latest immigration laws and policies. Opportunity identification. There might be new opportunities because of the changes, because of the philosophy that is behind certain immigration programs. Government, they run for certain amount of time, let's say a pilot program or something like that, and then they change it. So you cannot blame government for sudden change. You have to play along and you have to consult as you develop your strategy. So opportunities may present, and we will identify some of opportunities today. With opportunities, you need to mitigate your risk. So risk mitigation is another benefit of knowing the trends. Being aware of trends helps you anticipate potential challenges and plan accordingly, reducing the risk associated with immigration applications and business expansions to Canada. Lastly, but not the least, resource allocation. Once you identify the trends and where Canada is going with its immigration, you allocate your resources, valuable resources, monetary, financial, your mental resources, and your time, of course. For businesses and legal practitioners, if you are a legal practitioner, understanding where the demand for services might increase can guide your resource allocation. And as a business immigration applicant, you need to understand where Canada is going in terms of immigration flows, the migrations, and what are the priorities for the government in 2024, 25, and 26. Although, as you may be aware, we will have federal elections in October 2025. All these discussions need to be updated again once we know who is the leading party, political party in Canada after that elections in 2025. So, according to my observations, these are 5 trends in Canadian immigration as we speak in May 2024. Number 1, focused calculation. As you may know now that you are aware of Canadian immigration system, Canada used to count the number of permanent residents in its own immigration plan, and whatever the calculation was there was focused on permanent immigration, permanent residents. Now they want to manage and calculate and count those non-permanent members of Canadian society, which includes students, temporary workers, and undocumented people. We will discuss undocumented people in a moment, but these are not necessarily decreasing the number of those non-permanent residents, but being aware, because according to Statistics Canada, we can hear some statistics saying 6.2% of Canada's population is non-permanent, or even Prime Minister Justin Trudeau mentioned 7.5% is non-permanent in Canada. So it varies between 2.5 million people to 2.7 million people. So calculation is messed up, to be honest. Even Statistics Canada cannot make a calculated assessment on how many people are non-permanent in Canada. That's why there's a political pressure to know the exact number and calculate. Starting in November of this year, Canada will be calculating the number of non-permanent residents coming into Canada. Probably it will change how it treats them in terms of setting a plan number of admissions, or because previously we didn't have any limitations. We didn't calculate, we didn't count them, we didn't have any visibility on them. And as you know, Canada's population rose significantly in 2023. Almost more than 1.3 million people were added in Canada's population, which represents around 3.2%. One of the largest increase in developed world, in Western countries, even one of the largest since 1940s, 1950s in terms of population. So focus calculation. Once you calculate the numbers, then you can do something about it, right? You can regulate them, you can limit them, you can, I don't know, set targets. In November 2024, we will have 2 targets. 1 for permanent residents, 2 for non-permanent residents. How many people we want to welcome to Canada. That's one trend, and you need to appreciate that Canada is under political pressure due to housing crisis and whatnot, that Canadian government is under the pressure to calculate and make the right decisions with respect to non-permanent residents. Second trend, automation and AI. Now, there are 2.2 million applications of different kinds in the backlog. Now, to be able to process those applications, you need automation and you need artificial intelligence. There is a steep learning process for both lawyers and the Canadian government in deploying artificial intelligence and adoption of artificial intelligence, both on the applicant side and on the government side. So there will be some hiccups. We've witnessed some hiccups with AI, some hiccups with new portal. Maybe you are self-represented visa applicant. You noticed new portal is being launched for certain type of applications. Now automation and AI will be an indispensable part of immigration. I noticed that certain PDF forms are disappearing. Instead, a new portal with new user experience is coming up. Now you need to understand what are the implications of AI, and please share your experience with us. If you have filed an application recently, what do you think about this new use and adoption of AI on the Immigration Canada side? Share your thoughts. It's very interesting to us. The number 3 trend that I see is spreading the benefits of immigration across Canada by different means. Legally speaking, you cannot force a permanent resident in Canada to live somewhere permanently. He or she can move around Canada once he or she is a permanent resident. But until that person becomes permanent resident, there could be some requirements to live there, to apply in certain provinces, or spend majority of your time in that province that selected you for permanent residency, right? So one way of spreading the immigration benefit to all provinces, and I feel Canadian government is doing that with the help of provincial attestation letters, right? Provincial attestation letters and quotas that were implemented on international students in Canada is de facto spreading the immigrants across different provinces. Those provinces who were accepting more immigrants, more international students, they are now losing the percentage of quota. Maritime provinces and other provinces are gaining more quotas. So at the end of the day, through provincial attestation and pushing those international students to the provinces, Canadian government is achieving as a short-term goal that immigration is spreading beyond British Columbia and beyond Ontario. So you can see Alberta is up and coming in terms of migration. I think Alberta is one of the top, if not the top, province that accepted more than 90,000 people last year. So many people are moving to Alberta. Now it can be viewed good or bad. Share your thoughts, but I think overall the goal of immigration is to spread it across the country, not only to metropolitan areas like Toronto or Vancouver. And the second method that Canada is using, they are encouraging and making PNP applications, PNPs, more active. Now we know that there are some protests in PEI about PNP nominations and so on, but federal government wants provinces to be more active to select the right candidate for that province, taking into account the labor and economic realities of that province. But as I said, there are some problems. I think Canadian government is meeting with its federal government is meeting with their counterparts on the provincial level, and they're trying to solve that problem. Manitoba had some issues. They resolved that with respect to extending the work permits, but overall, spreading the number of students across Canada and also making PNPs more active, the Canadian government is achieving what it tries to achieve, to spread the benefit of immigration across the country. Another one, number 4, French speakers immigration, Francophone immigration. As you may know, and we delivered to you after my meeting at the CBA conference in Montreal, the representatives of Immigration Canada, they specifically mentioned that, for example, express entry allocation, the number of express entry candidates, 30% of them will be Francophone. 30% of selected candidates will be Francophone. So 1/3 of express entry program is being allocated for Francophone. And you can see in the latest draws when it comes to French-speaking candidates, right? Outside of Quebec. So Quebec has enough French-speaking population. Now, Canadian government, federal government is pushing and encouraging Francophone immigration to provinces other than Quebec. So another good example, a good reason for you to learn French. If you know English, that's great, but knowing French gives you a priority these days. And I think it will not change in the near future. That trend will continue in the coming years unless, as I said, in 2025, we will have another government coming in. Maybe they will rethink this idea of Francophone immigration again. Lastly, we feel as lawyers practicing business immigration for many, many years, now hiring foreign workers from outside of Canada is becoming more challenging. Here's why. Because Canada has a lot of population inside already, and in a way they have to regulate them. They have to provide jobs, social security and so on. Now Canada wants employers to hire locally as much as possible through refugee claimants. We have more than 200,000 Ukrainians who have arrived and who have work authorization, work permits in Canada. So now they are also thinking of creating pathways to PR for Ukrainians and also even regulate undocumented people in Canada. There are millions of undocumented people in Canada. They are under the radar of law. Once they regulate it, give them work permit, at a minimum work permit, but probably permanent residence. This week and next week, Canadian Prime Minister will be discussing this issue with Immigration Minister, and let's see what kind of solution Canada will offer in terms of regulating undocumented people. What do you think? Do we have to regulate undocumented people or let them be as they are? What are your thoughts? Please share, because it's very interesting. It's been a double-edged sword, because on the one hand you want to regulate and you want to be controlling in a way those undocumented people in Canada. On the other hand, if you give them pathway to PR or work permit or even citizenship, then inadvertently you're encouraging people to become undocumented. It's like amnesty, right? They literally are jumping the queue sometimes. So it's a double-edged sword. I cannot express my opinion. I have mixed feelings about that. What about your feelings? And that was number 5, trend number 5. If you see any other trends in Canadian immigration, please share your thoughts in the comment section. We will review them, we will respond to them. Maybe next time when we analyze again the next set of trends in Canada in 2025, we probably will bring your identification too. You identified another trend we didn't see as lawyers. It's a two-way street. Let's discuss this issue and share your thoughts. So I think this is what I wanted to share with you. Of course, we will delve into the questions now. Let's take a quick break and come back to your questions.
Are you constantly on the move, managing your business, and looking for a convenient way to stay informed about expanding your business to Canada? Look no further. Introducing Speaking of Canada, the podcast that keeps you in the loop on all things related to Canadian business immigration, delivering the latest news and valuable tips and captivating interviews, no matter how busy your schedule gets. Speaking of Canada has got you covered.
And as always, we come back to your questions. But if you like these kind of content that we are creating for you, the live sessions and recorded videos, give that thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to our channel, because the Canadian immigration is becoming more and more interesting. We will bring you the latest updates, the latest insights within our team and from outside, from Immigration Canada and our own observation. We will be your ears and eyes in Canada. So give that thumbs up and share your thoughts with us. If you are interested in Canada's business immigration, then you need a competent, honest, and caring team on your side. We've been doing it for more than 10 years. Talk to us. Let's come up with a great strategy, taking into account the whole situation in Canada, holistic approach to your immigration. Our contacts are on the screen, and let us know what you think. Now, let's get your questions right away. Okay, now the first question from Shana, I need to be looking to the screen. Hello, for a business short visa, which means tourist visa, right? Is the best portal of CIS to use? What is the best portal of CIS, Immigration Canada, to use? So there are several portals if you are self-represented, right? If you are doing it on your own, then there's a new portal that came up. It's brand new, it's dynamic, it changes according to your answers. So tourist visa, temporary visitor visa, for that kind of purpose is the most suitable one. Okay? Another question that we received from Facebook, and we are now replicating here. The question says, I'm considering relocating to Canada but want to avoid the high competition in major cities. That's a great strategy, by the way. What regional programs should I look into, and what are the benefits of moving to small provinces? One of the benefits of moving to small provinces is they are desperate for workers. As you know, as I mentioned in the trends, Canadian government is spreading the benefits of immigration to smaller communities because they need immigrants, because there are jobs there. Yes, the earnings are less than big cities, but the expenses are less than big cities. Rent is less, food probably is cheaper, and so on. These are the benefits. And secondly, if you work in certain provinces for a certain amount of time, your permanent residence nomination can be faster, okay? Yes, you can argue that some provinces are not nominating as often as possible, as desirable, but overall, now with the government's push to become more active, provinces will be selecting the right candidate for them to stay in that province. Provinces want to retain you, not only attract you, but also retain you in that province. So when you are looking at the provinces, please look with the mindset of staying there long term, not just obtaining PR and moving to Toronto or moving to Vancouver. Think long term, because when you think long term, it's better for you to make your strategy. It's better for the province to nominate you and genuinely support your permanent residence. Of course, once you are a permanent resident, you can move anywhere in Canada, but I think having a more relaxing life in the provinces, in the Atlantic province, in Alberta, in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, New Brunswick, anywhere you go, it is Canada. It has its own plus and minus, good side and bad side. Everywhere, there's no perfect place, okay? So get that mindset and go with that, and you will be successful. Excuse me. Hassan Malik is asking the question, could you please guide us on the startup visa already applied And is there any chance of quick responses? Well, I don't know who's your lawyer in that respect. I think once the application for permanent residence is done, it takes around 3 years. And now they are prioritizing certain type of application. The answer to your question varies whether you applied before April 30th or after April 30th, because that's the deadline. The changes were implemented then, right? And if you applied for PR, that's, be ready to wait around two years, if not more. Then you apply for work permit, saying that you are an essential worker, you need to come to Canada and start the startup that you applied for. I think the best way is to consult with your lawyer, and also depends on who supported you in startup visa. If it's an incubator or angel investor or venture capital firm, you need to ask them. They have direct contact with the government. But again, don't be too optimistic, because government has its own processing time. And with respect to, as I said, for PR, it's more than 2 years. With respect to work permit application after PR is about 3 to 4 months, according to our experience. Again, processing times are improving, but they are not there yet. I hope they will improve significantly in the coming years. Excuse me again. So Sadiq is asking another question. Good morning. Tell us about new language proficiency PTE core. Well, the new tests are being accepted as acceptable tests. PTE is one of them. And regardless of the type of test you take, there's a CLB, Canadian Language Benchmark requirements. And there's a table online. We will leave that table. I will ask my assistant to leave that language table and the CLB grades under this video on YouTube, so that you can refer to them directly. Let me come back to you on that question, okay? Also, guidelines about closed work permit. Yes, closed work permit. In terms of startup visa program, you remember that last year, I think the previous immigration minister, Sean Fraser, he gave, I think it was a one-time deal for open work permits for startup visa applicants that were already in existence in the backlog. After that, I don't believe it became a permanent feature of startup visa work permits. It is a one-time deal, and under startup visa, it will be a closed work permit, allowing you to work only on your startup. But think about it, and from the other side, Canada wants you to succeed in your startup. If Canada allows you to work anywhere other than your startup, will your startup succeed? Will you dedicate enough time for your startup to succeed? That's not an advantage. From the Canadian perspective, I think they will not allow to have open work permit for startup visa applicants. In their minds, if they close your work permit to that startup only, you will be focused on your startup, and that increases the chances of success of that startup project. And I think, with closed work permit, I think it's a good side is that your spouse will have open work permit. If you have a closed work permit, your spouse may have an open work permit and help you out in terms of earnings for the family. I think that's it for now, right? Asking my assistant. I think that's it. Yeah. Excuse me, I'm under the weather today. Thank you very much. Again, let's see. Okay, very beneficial information. Thank you, Hassan. As always, it's a pleasure for us to share our knowledge with you. But again, we ask you to share your knowledge, your insights with us in the comment section, in different channels on social media. Make sure you follow us and share your thoughts. Thank you very much again, and see you next time.